All right, welcome everybody to Duke's first challenge with the American Horsemen's Challenge Association. And I'm going to voice this over because just thought I'd help explain it if you're not familiar with the sport. It's a fairly new sport, and this particular organization is only about 10 years old. Each obstacle is scored on a 0 to 10 scale, and 5.5 is considered an average score. So this was Duke's very first event, and he was the very first horse on the very first day, and it had just rained about an hour before, and you can see he got just a little bit bothered there by that little pink bear that's there on the right when he first saw that. And he was supposed to jump both of these logs, but it was really wet, and I let him go around that second log because I was a little bit concerned about how slick the grass was. And this was also probably the most anxious or nervous I've ever seen this colt. And you see he spooked at something there. I don't know what it was. But overall, he handled this quite well. So he got a fairly low score on those jumps. I think it was 3.5. And these barrels, he walked through those pretty nicely. He got an average score on those. The next obstacle here is this bridge. And I thought he did fairly well with it. He got an average score of 5.5 on this bridge. Might have been a little better, but he kind of walked off to the side just a little as he was going up. And I was just a little bit cautious, and I wasn't really trying to win anything. As it turned out, we ended up second place, which surprised me because there were 10 horses in the event. But in this category, it's Green Horse 1. All 10 horses, this was their beginning as an obstacle course horse. And here he's going over a deadfall, which is some tree limbs on the ground. And he walked through those nicely. And he got an average score of 5.5 for that. The next one, he got an above average score on this one with these rocks. I did a little send around here, I think, um, from the rocks. And this is something I actually haven't practiced it very much. I think I may have practiced it twice in the last few weeks, but he handled it pretty well. And I was just pretty happy with this little guy for most of the weekend. And then I'm going to give him a cue to come pick me up, which I've just started doing, and he doesn't actually know how to do it. But I think the judge may have given me the benefit of the doubt that he actually responded to that cue when he didn't. The next one obstacle here is that tire jump. You can see it there on the bottom right. And I had told the judge in advance I was not going to ask him to jump it because it was really slick and it was a pretty big jump. And I'd never asked him to jump anything that big from his back. And I certainly didn't want to do it on wet grass. So I only got 1.5 points. That's really the reason I came in second. Had I jumped that jump successfully, we probably would have won first, but it wasn't a big deal to me. What was a big deal to me was I wanted him to have a pretty good experience, and I wanted everything to go smoothly, and it did. And he got 5 points on that backing out of there, so slightly below average. If he had backed into it instead of out of it, he would have gotten a few more points. Got an average score here, just standing up on this little pedestal there and then stepping back down, backing off, average score. And then the final obstacle is a set of poles here. And I did not do anything fancy. I just let him trot over them, and we ended the run on a really good note. So again, I was trying to go easy on him, and I did. I tried not to put any pressure on him, and I thought it turned out really well. And as I said, he got a second place. This is the second day, different arena. We're in an actual arena here. That was the first obstacle, which was barrels, and he got a pretty good score there. This is called Crazy Barrels. It's basically a like a barrel racing pattern with some jumps thrown in, and he got an average score here, I believe, on this, about 5 or 5.5. And I wasn't even asking him to lope, but he wanted to lope, so I went ahead and let him lope around these barrels. He actually ended up winning first in this event, which surprised me just a little bit. I didn't think that it was quite that good a run out of 10 horses, but he did fine. And this was a stop where we were graded on the stop. He got a 5 on that stop, and which is something I haven't worked on very much. I just kind of, at this stage, I let my horses stop whenever they just stop as they will. Now here he took off on the wrong lead. You can see he's on the left lead, and I was trying to fix it right there, and I don't think I did. It's kind of hard for me to tell if I fixed it or not, but because of that, I got a low score on that free ride there. I only got 4 points because it was on the incorrect lead. And then the next obstacle is to pick up this flag. And Duke was much more relaxed on this second day. He just wasn't tense at all on this day. And here he thought maybe there was some food in that barrel. He was trying to stick his nose in the barrel looking for food. He wasn't the least bit concerned about this flag. So because of that, got a good score on the flag, and the judge even wrote funny, I think, because of him sticking his nose into the barrel there. But he did that real nicely. And if you watched my prep video with him a couple weeks ago or a week ago, I had practiced the flag carry. He did that fine. The next obstacle is a water box, although I don't believe there was any water in it. It was just an empty black plastic box. And he walked through that fine, got an average score of 5.5. Next obstacle is a gate opening. And this gate was a little different than most in that you had to open it toward you. You couldn't open it away from you, the way it was configured at the end of this arena. So I had to pull the gate out and then ask him to go through it, and then I had to back out again. And he did that quite well. I was pretty happy with it. Got an average score there, 5.5. And in this green horse division, an average score is pretty exceptional. You wouldn't expect these green horses to get the really good scores that you would get from the more experienced horses. So I was pretty happy with this run overall. This obstacle is called a rain stick, and he had never seen it before. It's got rocks inside that plastic PVC pipe, makes a lot of noise. And I thought it might bother him, but you can see it didn't bother him at all. And I was really happy about that. So he got an average score of 5.5 for that. This one is called, well, this was just where you had to pick up this horn mat and carry it over and drop it in a bucket. Again, an average score, nothing spectacular. With a more advanced horse, I would have been trying to side pass to it and then side pass to the bucket and added some fancy things. But he's just not quite ready for that kind of stuff. And here he misunderstood me. He thought I wanted him to step on that little green pedestal, and all I wanted him to do was to move his hip around it. And so he did after a while. It took him a little bit to figure out what I was asking him to do. And then I asked him to step onto the larger pedestal, which he did real nicely and got a good score. That was his highest score of the round. He got 6 points for that pedestal. And so that's really the end of both of those events. He did quite well, and thanks for watching.